We are all chasing something greater. It's not quantifiable. It's not ubiquitous. It's not the same for every person. It's success. And the cold, hard truth is, only some people have it in them to succeed. Do you? Well, what is success? The answer is, What's Success Upturn? And we're bringing all the inspiration of What's Success Upturn to you from those who have pushed relentlessly against all odds, beaten the competition, and won. Success Upturn reveals the other side of winning, the grueling long nights that end in failure, forcing you to get back up again. The sacrifices of family, friends, and faith, resulting in tears, rejection, and loss. We take an intense look at the financial stress following your own path can cause, and the do-or-die defining moments where those who don't have it in them give up, and those that do break through and enter a level of success where their faith, their family, and their quality of life is what they dreamed it would be, and more. In the end, it's your spirit that has the willpower and energy needed to break through the pain of brain-racking work, and it's your spirit that's rejuvenated and rewarded the moment your success comes rolling in. If you want to share your story and share your Success Upturn history, go online to successupturn.com or call 713-530-2455 to be part of the Success Upturn podcast today.
So welcome everybody, we are in Success Upturn, and today we have Mr. Abel Olivares, CEO, investment professional for 401k Hombre. Welcome in, Abel.
Thank you so much, Alfonso. Really excited to be here and to share our interview with everybody else.
Well, Success Upturn is dedicated to interview, it's a talk show dedicated to interview professionals in the industry that have achieved success, and they're going to share the path of success, their stories, their struggles, and everything. And today, once again, we have the pleasure to have one of the top finance advisors for Houston, Texas, the 4 largest cities in the United States, Mr. Abel Olivares with 401k Hombre. So, Abel, we know that you were born and raised in Pasadena, but Pasadena, Texas, by the way, can you give us a little bit more information about your background?
Yeah, let me go ahead and do that. Thank you for asking me to do that because it's really important where I came from. Basically, I grew up in Pasadena, Texas. My dad actually had to quit 5th grade to actually help support his siblings because my grandmother had too many kids. He had to pick cotton, and so he didn't get to have a childhood. So growing up in Pasadena, I wasn't allowed to work. All right, I had to focus on education. I had to focus on sports. I found out later in life that my dad actually didn't want me to get used to making money because he was concerned that I would start working, making money, and then want to drop out of school, which was really prevalent in our area at that time.
Wow.
Where there would be a lot of Latinos that would actually drop out of school so they can go make money and help out the family. So that was, he expressed that to me years after that. I had no clue. And then he had me do a bunch of sports. That way I would be so tired that I wouldn't that I wouldn't have time to actually go out and party with the guys or really get into some of the trouble. So, it was really, really stressed education. One, as far as nobody on my dad's side or my mother's side even went to college whenever I was going to college. College was an unknown for us. And so
that's remarkable. So you're just to understand, you're the first family member in your whole family history that went to college?
Yes, that was the first person that went to college and also to graduate from college.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, to be honest with you, it was unknown to me as well growing up, but, God blessed me with a pretty intelligent mind. that I was able to apply myself and make straight A's while in school, but yet still excel in sports as well too.
What kind of sports you did, by the way?
Well, I mean, I started, pretty much playing t-ball when I was 4 years old. I actually pitched when I was 5.
So you're competitive.
Yeah, I played basketball. I played football. I actually went through college and I played for 1 year, but my shoulder ended up getting hurt, and so I had to go back to the academics. So pretty much every sport you can think of.
For all the sports, which one was the one that you enjoyed the most? Or
I actually, for football was actually the most enjoyable. American football, not soccer.
Right.
I love the games, but I hated the practice. In Houston, it's so hot in August and July that you just don't want to practice. It's just too hot. Nowadays they practice with just their shoulder pads and their helmets, so they're a little bit lighter on the kids. But back in the day, we practiced 2 times a day.
You practiced 2 times a day?
Yeah.
So you did it?
Yeah, I did it. So, but you know what? The sports is very important because it taught me, teamwork. It taught me work ethic. And also, growing up in Pasadena, we didn't have a great football team, okay, just to let you know. So you had to learn how to lose and fail. And but the most important is how to get back up. And I think that through that losing, which I didn't have a choice, we didn't have a good football team either way. Through that losing, it taught me on how to always forget about the failure and to move on and learn from it, and then how to excel after that. So I really owe a lot to growing up in Pasadena and playing sports.
And what I also have learned too is the success doesn't happen actually when you play the game. Success starts when you are actually practicing.
Yep.
So that's the hard part, to practice every day in and out, like you say. Wearing everything and showing up and commitment, discipline, and all that. And what you just expressed about losing, failures, what I have learned is just a given. It will happen. It's part of the process.
Correct.
You have to love the process. You have to be addicted to the process of success.
Yep. Yeah. And you mentioned something very important. And the way I was brought up and the way I learned through the game is that, a lot of people say that practice makes perfect. Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. All right. It's a different mentality when you're practicing, or we're doing this interview, or you're doing your career. Because I know you're a top, real estate professional. You have to, every day is game day.
Every day
is game day. There isn't a test. There isn't a practice. Sometimes you only got one opportunity and you have to convert it. And so, I owe a lot of sports. When I played baseball through high school, I was a pitcher. I did really well, but I wasn't tall enough. I never made over 6 foot, but I did very good at what they call 23-5A. But I always enjoyed going in there with bases loaded, no outs.
Wow.
Because
what was that?
Because I work better under pressure. When you don't have an opportunity to fail, you tend to succeed. And that's kind of carried over with my business, is that I don't look at failure. Okay. I try to focus on the opportunity to succeed, and I focus on that because there's not an opportunity for failure. Now, is failure going to happen? Yeah, it's going to happen. You have failed in your life. I have failed in my life too. But that's where we learn, and that's where God equips us on how to be successful. If we just listen and we see what we did wrong and how we can improve on it.
Absolutely. What I have learned is if you, you work for, let's say, drink water, if you work for, in order to get food to your table, you will never succeed.
Yep.
If you work towards breathing, survival,
correct,
then you will succeed.
Yep.
And that's what it makes it different. When you have clarity, when you know your why, you have to peel the onion layer by layer.
Yep.
Until you cry, and then you keep going.
Yep. Exactly.
So tell us a little bit more about yourself. About your. Sounds like you have a great history here. A story. I'm sorry. And tell us about more your professional career.
Well, let me go back. I actually put myself through school.
Did you?
I actually got.
What kind of jobs you did?
Well, first of all, I got lucky.
Oh my gosh, that's the question.
Yeah, no. You know what's so hard is that
you were dancing.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't make any money. I wouldn't make any money off of that. I wouldn't make any money off of that. Going about 11th grade, I decided I was going to go to University of Texas in Austin, but unfortunately, my parents got a divorce, and there wasn't any money. And so I remember going up to my parents, and I said, "Hey, I'm ready to go to college. I've made straight A's. I'm ready to go to UT." And they said, "I'm sorry, mijo, we don't have any money." because of the divorce that sometimes happens. And we didn't come from money, so whatever little money they had.
Right.
So I was really upset with my parents because I did my part and they didn't do their part. But, as you get older, I'm 50 years old now, I realized that was the hardest thing for them to tell me is that they didn't have money to put me through school because they couldn't afford it. But luckily, I had applied myself, throughout the years and did the activity necessary to make good grades. And I applied for a scholarship 4 weeks late. It was already closed. And they ended up back in 1987 giving me $10,000 per year for 4 years. So I actually got a full ride. But the reason I say I put myself to school is because I did the activity necessary ahead of time, not knowing. But also in that 4-year tenure, there was times that I had to use some of the money to buy a truck. I bought a truck in the spring, I think my freshman year. And so I spent my scholarship money on buying a truck. I paid for my school and everything else, but I didn't have any meal plan money. So for about a month and a half or two, I had to eat the $1 menu at Wendy's, and
we've been there.
Yeah, Wendy's,
sure.
and when you're poor or broke or starving, you kind of look at they said, "Well, do you want lettuce and tomatoes?" I said, "Anything and everything you could put on that one,
right?
I'll take it." And then sometimes I ate mustard sandwiches for lunch, and I ate peanut butter and jelly. But finally, money come in after I got a job, laying carpet, helping lay tile, and I made some extra money to get me to my next scholarship payment. So. But going into that, that scholarship, I had a major in criminal justice. So what I did is I went ahead and used it for two functions. I went for criminal justice and I also went for finance. All right. And the scholarship was given to me by the 100 Club of Houston that takes care of fallen police officers when they pass away. They help them with funeral expenses and everything else. So, but I had to major in criminal justice. All right. So I did that and the finance. And when I got out of college in 1991, the DEA recruited me as a special agent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Abel Olivares, special agent.
So that's why I couldn't dance and make money because I was going to be in the law enforcement side.
You have to have a clean background.
Yeah. But anyway, so I passed all the background. Took about a year.
That explains why you're so successful in financing.
So they actually took me. I was ready to go to Quantico, Virginia, because everybody goes to the FBI Academy. I was
right. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, exactly. So
if
anybody wants to know if I have a clean record as a financial advisor, I not only passed it that time, but what happened is I was ready to go to the FBI Academy to become a special agent for DEA, and it was an instant hiring freeze due to the presidential election at that time. So I never did get to go to the FBI Academy. So what they told me is that you need to wait till we start hiring again. So I spent 7 years in the criminal justice field working for the Harris County DA's office in the investigative unit, the supervision corrections department, using my criminal justice degree. And 7 years later, when I was roughly 28, they opened up all the hiring. So I went through everything again, passed the background again, 7 years later.
Wow.
So everything was clean. Everything was good. But 2 years later, I'm still waiting for my date for Quantico. And so I decided that, I'm going to use the finance because at that time, now I'm married. I have got two kids, and they had wanted me to go to New York, Miami, or LA and sell drugs on the streets for 2 years because I speak Spanish. I know. I know I sound like a white guy, but I'm a Latino, but I speak Spanish. My mom says I sound Puerto Rican when I speak Spanish. So I don't know.
Is that right?
So when they finally called me, I had already got my licenses to become a registered financial advisor. The hardest test that could be completed, I completed those, and I bought a franchise.
So you have all your series?
Yeah, Series 7, which is the hardest license to get, which allows you to get professional financial advice. I have a Group 1, which allows me to sell any insurance products out there. Not property and casualty. That's a totally different.
And that was when you were 27?
Roughly 28. Yeah, 28.
So that's 22 years of experience?
Correct. Yeah, correct.
One of the highest.
Correct.
License.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Wow.
And I had a Series 63. So when they finally called me back to go to the DEA and go into the Quantico, I was already making too much money. I was already making six figures. I didn't have to go move to New York, Miami, or LA and sell drugs for 2 years. And it was actually going to be a pay cut. I think they were going to start me off about $50,000 or $60,000, which is good money back in 1990.
So just to be clear, that was an undercover job, right?
Yeah, I was going to. Yeah, exactly. And so what I told him, I said, look, when I got out of college, I was single, and I wanted to go sell drugs. I wanted to act in job where your life depended on it, but you were a cop at the same time. So it sounded exciting. But I told him, I said, now I'm married. I have 2 kids, and now I'm already making 6 figures, and I don't have to go work undercover. So that started my financial business back, roughly 22 years ago. And So I bought a franchise to American Express Financial Advisors.
So you own a franchise.
Yeah, I owned a franchise to American Express Financial Advisors, which is now called Ameriprise Financial.
Right.
Okay. So I bought a franchise and I finished within my peer group. I finished in the top 5 financial advisors in the first year. Management approached me to try to start training other franchise owners to teach them client acquisition, quality of advice, marketing. And so I started doing that. So I got recruited on the management side as well. So I did both, I did, my business every Wednesday and the evenings, and then I did the management. Did really well on the management side and the business side. Within 3 years, I had already been promoted to an advisor coach position on the management side. I was promoted to a district manager position where I taught all the franchise owners Monday through Friday on quality advice, 8 to 5, and quality advice, client acquisition, compliance, everything. And I was up for 2001. I was up for an associate vice president position, over 250 advisors.
Wow.
But what happened is that this is real life that I had to learn is what happened is they sent me my wife and I to Jamaica, and we stayed at the Ritz-Carlton. And I'm sitting there in one of the little huts, on the beach and everything else.
Woohoo.
And drinking a rum drink, Jamaican rum.
Just one.
Yeah, just one. Yeah, okay. Full disclosure, more than one.
More than one. Okay.
And I looked over at my wife and I said, you know what? I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna resign from the management position. And she was like, what? And I said, I'm realizing that with the management position, I've been trying to go up as high as possible in the company. And in that, I wouldn't talk to my daughters but for every 2 or 3 days, because I'd leave at 7 and I'd leave the office at 10, Monday through Friday. 8 to 8 on Saturdays I'd leave. All right. So the reality is I was having marital issues. My wife was like, I don't want to be a single mom. I would tell her, well, you think I'm excited? I'm over here working 70, 80, 90 hours a week. At least one of us gets to stay home. So we're having a lot of disagreements. And
Right.
I wasn't getting to see my girls. I want to see my girls. So I realized at that time that my definition of success before that was, how high in the company can I go? How much money can I make? All right. And I did all that. I mean, I did really well, bonuses, stock options, everything on the management side. Plus I still have my business. So I gave myself a grade on an A for that, but everything else, I gave myself an F. I wasn't a good husband. All right. Cause I was hardly home. I wasn't a good friend because I was hardly there. I wasn't a good father. So there's different grades after that situation. I had to grade myself on different categories. You know what I'm saying? Then also my spiritual walk with, because I'm a Christian, I try to be Christ-like as much as I can, is I had to give myself a grade in each category and to give myself an overall grade. And that's what changed my life there, because it was no longer about how high can you get in corporate. Because, you're like that as well.
Right,
you're self-driven.
right.
It's all activity drives results, sell yourself, close, always be closing everything. And so I realized at that point I had to change my definition. So I spent about 2 or 3 years getting back to my family and getting that secure. And then I kept going to the franchise. And so as far as I'm really proud of my career, if I can go on this, is I've been doing this over 22 years.
Yeah.
And honestly, not to put them down or anything else, but if I go to the majority of my family on both sides, my wife and on my dad's side and my mom's side, it would be hard for me to talk to you about the stock market,
Right.
mutual funds, okay, bonds, REITs, everything, because they wouldn't understand it. And nothing against them, just nobody's ever taught them. Okay.
Right.
And so I finished, like I said, in the top 5 in my first year. I worked myself to an associate vice president. All right. And I've been, ever since I resigned, I actually resigned in 2001, whenever I told you about that trip with the rum and the drink. I came back and they said, how'd the trip go? And I said, it went great, but here's my letter. And they're like, what are you doing? What are you resigning? You're giving up a 6-figure salary, stock options, bonuses, trips. You just got to, and I said, look, this has nothing to do with material things. It has to do with time. And I can't afford to spend that much time anymore. It's costing me too much on my family side.
Right.
And so I went on to my practice, and honestly, I never look back income wise. You know what I'm saying? Because there's something about doing things right, doing the right thing, even whenever you don't feel like it's the thing you may want to do because you're so used to something
Still
else.
faith.
Yeah, exactly. And so you always got to just line up to where you're supposed to be, keep your principles and values, and let God work everything else out. And so
Amen.
Now up to this point, I believe a successful financial advisor. I try to stay humble and humility because God provides me all the opportunities. But, I've worked myself up from a an upbringing to where I haven't did the numbers, but I'm one to less than the top 5% of wage earners, as far as income, without disclosing too much of how much money I make. But let's just say I'm blessed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so.
And you have two beautiful daughters.
And I have two beautiful daughters,
And one is a star, right? Pop star singer.
Yeah, she's also an alternative pop singer-songwriter. And I'm actually her manager. So
you are?
Yeah, so I the time going independent, meaning getting away from management and actually structuring everything, has allowed me to do other things such as be a manager for my daughter's singer-songwriter. And
I think it's at Larry's official?
Yeah, it's actually at Larissa Official, LARYSS Official. And you can look her up. She's on YouTube, Pandora. She's an amazing, but most important,
Spotify too.
Yeah, Spotify, all the platforms, you name it, Apple. We have a distribution deal, and she has actually a producer out of LA named Yanni that works with Ariana Grande, Trey Songz, Missy Elliott, Justin Bieber. So she's works with some really good people.
Lucky to have you here today, Mr. Celebrity.
Yeah, so
El hombre.
Yeah.
401k hombre.
You're exactly right, man.
So if I go to Facebook, I go to 401k hombre, right?
Yeah, 401k hombre.
Right. Yeah, they like you there.
Yeah, and let me give you a little story on that, just to let you know. Up until 2 years ago, I was named something else. I rebranded myself because the way I was born in a blue collar working environment. All my friends that lived in Pasadena, they went to go work at plants, most of them, and their parents lived and worked in the plants as well. And I went in about 2 years ago. I told my wife, I said, you know what? I'm too tired of being stuffy. You know what I'm saying? You've been in those environments as a professional. You have to look a certain way, talk a certain way. And I started thinking that I'm not being true to myself. I told my wife, you know what? I'm tired of wearing suits. You know what I'm saying? I want to wear boots. I want to wear jeans. I want to maybe a sports coat at best, something a little bit, because I'm a proud Latino from Texas. We've been here all of our lives. My dad gets upset when we say we're immigrants because he says he gets mad because he said nobody's ever proven that, that we because we're part American Indian and we were in Texas, our whole family, since it was owned by Mexico,
Right.
And so I rebranded myself. So that's why I call myself 401k hombre, because I believe in Southern, first of all, I'm a Christian. And so you reap what you sow. You treat others like you want to be treated, and you love thy neighbor. And if you do those couple things, follow God and everything else, everything will work out. And I'm just a simple guy with Southern values. We can drink a cold one, and that's it, And so now I'm simple, And
so if I want to call you for finance advice, what number can I call you?
Yeah, you're going to call. Actually, I give out a number that's directly to me.
Which one is that?
It's 832-677-4251. Again, that's 832-677-4251. And the reason I give out my direct number is because I'm the face of the business. All right. I want to make sure you're treated exactly the way that I think you need to be treated and you want to be treated. And so if anything ever goes wrong, I want it to be my fault.
So we can call you that number or text you that number?
Correct. Yeah. You can call me or text me that number because of this show, or if it's referrals or whatever, it's a complimentary consultation. You can give me your 401k statement, especially this year. It's going to be an election year, so there's going to be a lot of volatility, and you might have gained some money last year, so you want to lock those gains. So
wow.
I'll sit down with you and just give you a side-by-side. And
we can do that after the show.
Yeah. and then the biggest thing is this: there's a lot of financial advisors, there's a lot of real estate professionals. But I tell my clients is that the first meeting we're going to talk about things, but you need to figure out if you discern whether or not you trust me, do you like me, or whatever, because we're going to work together for a long time. So why wouldn't you like me? You know what I'm saying? Or why wouldn't I like you? There's too many advisors out there. There's too many clients out there to not work with somebody you enjoy and over the long term. And so
wow, that's actually so true. So tell us, about your accomplishments in the personal level, in the business level. Yep. What are you most proud about it?
Okay, well, to recap a little bit, the most thing I'm proud of is that God gave me an inner desire to actually excel, and He was always with me through the time to actually motivate me to put myself through school. Saying school, college was something that was I didn't even know what a GPA was until I was 11th grade. Luckily, I had done the classes that made good grades. All right. So I'm most proud of the fact that I was able to do something that nobody on either side of the family could do. All right. So I think that's my biggest accomplishment, because when you don't have a mentor, mentors are very important. You have coaches, I've had coaches in our business, and they make a tremendous impact. But when you go through
That's so true.
When you enter something that you have no clue about, all right, then that's an accomplishment. Another thing I feel good about is this. When I was becoming a financial advisor and now being after 21 years and being really blessed,
That's commitment.
Financial, is that when I started, we were 11 people in an office with no windows. It was just calls, 8 to at least 7 to 9 constantly, and you got hang up.
Cold calling.
Yeah, well, the good thing is that we weren't allowed to cold call, but what was kind of crazy is that back at American Express, they would make us buy the leads that they would generate from the credit card company.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and so it's $5 and up. And so sometimes people are like, I didn't ever request that and hang up on you. And you had to buy that lead for $5 to $15. So they would hang up on you. So every time you got hung up on, you're like, okay, there's $15. And so it's actually the perseverance through the financial industry, learning something that neither side of my family, and not to put them down, just nobody ever told
reality,
about. The reality on the financial industry, to be able to excel in a field like that whenever nobody's ever sat down with me and actually, said, hey, this is how it works and everything else. And then also too,
do it.
Nobody that I knew had money, and so I would sit down next to somebody else's their dad gave them $2 or $3 million, and that gave them like a $20,000 to $30,000 residual income. Well, I was on 100% commission, plus I had franchise fees. And so for me to go from that to having franchise fees, office fees, having to buy leads and not a guaranteed income, and nobody I knew had money, I had to go find people with money and get them to trust me. And so that's one of my biggest accomplishments, that it doesn't, as far as a business, you don't always need a rich uncle. You don't need outside forces to be able to help you. What's the most important is your internal drive. And also too, in my situation as a Christian, is that I do what I need to do and God's going to take care of everything else. And so he's the one that's in control. And so I still got to get up and work, but I do the activity necessary to allow things to happen. And then I know God has his hand in it.
There's a phrase that I love that it says, if you can see the invisible, you can do the impossible.
Yep.
And applies to every word, everything that you just said.
Yeah.
From faith to the way you're thinking. The enemy is outside. I'm sorry, the enemy is inside your head, no outside.
Yep. Yep.
You are in a fight. You are competing with yourself.
Yep.
Every day, in and out. And more like you're as yourself or myself, that we're self-employed.
Yeah.
We wake up an employee every day.
You're exactly right. And you know what? You said something that's cool, is the competitive nature and competing and all that other stuff. One thing that I learned in this process, I may be getting a little ahead of myself in this, is that a lot of times, say somebody wants to be in the NBA or play basketball or baseball, and they look around, or real estate, or even as a financial advisor, they look around and say, what are other real estate guys doing? What does it take to be the number one real estate professional in the nation, or the number one financial advisor? The problem with that thinking is this: I have confidence that you will become the number one, I'll become the number one. The problem with that is that once you become the number one, there's a tendency to become complacent because you've been comparing yourself to everybody else. All right. So then it's going to be harder for you to stay number one. So what I've learned just recently in the last 2 or 3 years is that don't look at yourself competing against others. Compete against the guy you were yesterday. Right. As long as Alfonso or Abel Olivares is better than he was yesterday, then tomorrow I'm going to be better than I was today. And then therefore you'll never have to you'll always be your best, basically.
So pretty much work in your potential, not in your quota.
Correct.
At all times,
correct.
Work on your potential,
correct,
not on your quota.
And then you know, as far as I know, is that if you're honest with yourself, if your income went down because you didn't do the activity necessary.
Right. Your goals are defining your daily activities.
You're exactly right. So that's that's a little bit on that.
So tell us a little bit more. What have been the key of your success?
Okay. Well, the key to my success is that. And I just learned it recently.
We never stop learning.
Yeah, that's what I learned. About 2 or 3 years ago, I remember sitting at my desk, and I was excited. I closed some business, and I said, I did this, I did that, I did this, and then I focused. I need to still do this. I need to do that, and then right there, I just stopped at my desk, and I realized I I said I so many times. And as somebody who still is a like wants to be Christ-like, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't do anything. God is the one that controls everything. And so actually I got really humble at that second in humility. And I started thinking, you know what? I really don't control anything. And I'm giving myself all this credit. Well, the problem when you put it all on your shoulders, as far as like with your marketing, my marketing, the achievement, the results, when you take ownership of that, right? That's not a good thing. Right? Because then you're actually saying you're more in control than God is in control within you, you know? So I had to learn to basically, one of my keys to success is to realize that my CEO really, even though I'm the CEO of 401k Hombre and I run the firm, is really my CEO is God and Jesus. All right. So I had one of my keys to success. I started that day. I decided I got a nice big high back chair like everybody else because I'm getting older. But I sat on the other side of the desk and I looked at my chair and I pictured God or Jesus in that chair. And I said, okay, God, what do you want me to do today? You want me to market? You want me to do client service? You want me to monitor trends as far as the stock market? What do you want me to do? When I did that, so much weight came off my shoulders because no longer did I own my own destiny, but I really started practicing where God is total in control. And I looked at it, so I started doing it. And then also when you do that, what I think is the key to my success is now you almost look at you're like a consultant to the business that God owns.
Huh.
And it allows you to
interesting point of view.
And so it's a paradigm shift and you got to work on it, but I managed to work on it to the point where I sat there. So I'm just an employee of God and asking me what to do. And then I go do it. And the next day I have to do the same thing. And so it's an exercise. Sit on the other side of your desk, picture. All right. And that allows you to actually be kind of a more objective, okay? And it actually allowed me to be more of a visionary for my business because now I'm telling God what I think maybe we should do and kind of conversing back and forth. And that sounds strange to people that don't believe in God or Christ, and I'm not pushing God or Christ. Whatever you believe in is your higher power or whatever your principles or values, try to figure out a way to do the same thing.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Now, so that's been my key. And then also when I did that, I realized that I'm a CEO by name, but I'm only a steward of my wife, steward of my kids, steward of my business. I don't own anything. I'm just passing through the world. And when I leave, I can't take the money or the business with me.
Right.
But so I'm just passing. When I did that, it further allowed me to de-stress and don't carry the weight of a business or the responsibility, because the weight and the responsibility is for the provider, but that's with me, it's Christ. And so I had to train my mind to do that. And then also another key to my success, just to give you an idea, 2018 was the best year in 20 years.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned me earlier before the scenes that 2019 was your best year in 21 years in your business. How do you do it? You know, do you have do you magic?
You know what?
Are you a magician? Or,
yeah.
I'd
love to be.
Hypnotist?
Yeah.
You know, invest with me. With me.
Yeah, exactly. You know what, Alfonso? It led to that teaching your mind how to think, and then also too, I realized that I started training my mind on how that there's really no cap. All right. One of the reasons why you got in the business, I'm sure real estater, and I got in the business, is we wanted to make as much money as we can, unlimited potential, and tap into that. However hard we work, we're rewarded.
Right.
And
helping people, of course.
And helping people. Yeah. In the process of helping people, if you focus on helping people, the money will come.
Right.
If you have the desire. Yeah. And so that's
all day long.
So I don't focus on the money, but
it's all about value proposition.
Correct. And so I realized that many people say it's unlimited potential. I can make as much money, but they don't believe it. So I had to really train myself to believe that it's unlimited. If God wants me to grow my business by 2,000% this year, it can happen. And so I just have to be a willing participant and to have that faith and to do the actions necessary. And 2018 was the best year in 20 years. 2019, I just looked at the results. I did better than 2018. So last year was the best year in 21 years.
Wow.
And so
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that training of the mind is what's helped me out the most. And then also,
and also your personal life, right?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I see my grandson go off to school every morning.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Yes.
I ride the bike with him when he gets home. I go see him
He's
gymnastics. 5 years old.
5 years
Get
old.
to see him in football. Your style, from Peru.
Soccer.
Yeah, soccer. Yeah, and I spend time with my wife and everything else. And so what I learned is that when you're going sales, I'm sure maybe you've heard this before. I'm sure you have. Activity drives results.
Right.
And so you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. What I learned the last 2 years, and this, if anybody could pick this up, is sometimes you don't need to do, you just need to be. And what I mean by that is that for me personally, I had to come to the point where no, I don't need to do all these things. I need to just be and allow God to work through me and do the things necessary in order for me to be successful. And as long as I always give him the credit, that's where it belongs. And so doing that by being, because again, you got to stop sometimes. It freaks you out sometimes. It trips you out because especially you're like 3,000 miles an hour, bro. And so sometimes you feel like you shouldn't stand still because you should be doing something. All right. But what I'm saying is that don't be, and start being a visionary for your business. Work strategically. Almost like you're looking at it from an aerial view of your business. And when you be, God will show you, or you think it's you showing yourself, will show you what needs to be done. Then what I've learned is that then you spend your energy accordingly. You and I'm 50 years old. I'm starting to slow down, but I don't think I am, but I know I am. But I need to lose about 20 pounds. But what I learned is that then you have to figure out, when do you preserve energy? When do you conserve energy, and when do you spend it? So you're more strategic with your energy. So it's not activity, always doing something task-oriented, because a lot of times when you're task-oriented,
you get burned.
You get burned. Yeah, you get burned.
And then hating what you're doing.
And then what happens, too, is that you're always focused down. You got blinders on everything you need to do that you cannot see over the mountain to be the visionary that you need.
Yes.
To make changes, to adapt to the markets. Your real estate's changing, financial industry's changing. We always got to know where it's headed to try to be that first person to make the changes and capitalize on that. And so it allowed me to be the visionary. So my biggest thing would be is that, don't own your business, become a steward of it, really, really believe and train your mind to know that there's unlimited potential and it can happen today.
Right.
And the next thing is,
doesn't matter what is your age.
It doesn't matter what your age.
Does not matter. That's right.
No. And so it doesn't
fall forward.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then the last thing is that don't always focus on doing. Sometimes you just have to focus on being. So those are my keys to my success.
So if I'm starting on financing, I want to be a career as a finance advisor, what do you would suggest someone not to do?
Not to do. What I would tell somebody not to do is not to listen to everything that people say of how good the career is.
Like the news.
Yeah, like the news. Yeah. And because, when I was hiring people as a manager, American Express Financial Advisors, I would tell people this. I say, look, how much money you have in the bank? During the interview, they're like, why are you asking me how much money I have in the bank? I said, because this is a very difficult career. You have to do the activity necessary. I don't know when you're going to make money. And I know that if you don't have money in the bank, at some point, because you're running out of money, that's going to cause you stress. Your wife's going to try to figure out, why are you working 8 to 10 Monday through Friday and 8 to 7, and you're bringing home $300, $200 every 2 weeks? Because that's what happened to me. And so I was relaying the information that happened to me. My wife was like, are you sure you're supposed to do that? Almost like I thought about quitting for the whole first year, but I had faith. But when you have somebody else that doesn't have that same entrepreneurial mind frame,
right?
She's thinking, oh my gosh, we're running through our savings. You're only bringing home $200 or $300 every 2 weeks. You break that down on 160 hours, you're making nothing. And so the key, I think, is somebody starting this business, get with somebody who's going to tell you the truth about the business.
Always.
It's an amazing business, just like real estate is.
Right.
All right. It's an amazing business, unlimited potential, but it's not easy. It's not easy.
It's simple, but it's not easy.
Correct. You have to do certain things
every day,
and you got to overcome objections because you're gonna fail a lot of times.
Absolutely.
And so it's not for everybody, but it's very lucrative. But it's also can get you to the point where you have peace of mind. So I would tell somebody, look, beautiful industry. I would encourage anybody straight out of college. I would encourage anybody to get in industry, because by helping people achieve their goals, you achieve your goal. You don't even have to worry about the money. The money will come. You do right. You're integral. You're honest. You do what you say you're going to do, and you treat people right. They reach their goals, and in turn, you reach your goals. And that's what's been a beauty about this business. But get with somebody who's going to tell you the truth, like me. Hey, you better have some money in the bank. All right. Can you overcome objections? This is very hard. You may strike it rich within a month or two, but more than likely it's going to take you a year or two to really try to get some traction to pay your bills and to get going the right direction.
That is great information. So if I'm looking to start in a career, or I am hearing this podcast Success Upturn, or looking us up online and YouTube and all our channels. Once again, how do we reach you?
Yeah, anybody can call me direct at 832-677-4251. Even if you're interested in the career, okay, even if I'm not looking to hire you, okay, I will help you. I will tell you the truth. You go to another interview, you call me and say, hey, they told me this, this, and that. And I'll tell you that's a lie, that's the truth, that's a lie, that's the truth. Ask them this question. I will help anybody out there, because that's my way of giving back. Because now I'm at a point where in life, you have to serve people. When you serve people, God rewards you. All right. And so that's my idea of serving. You can reach me there, 832-677-4251, directly. Rose, my cell phone number. So please call me if you just need direction on a career. You need help you with the 401k. You need just some nugget to help you get out of a stagnant business cycle. Maybe I can say something, or maybe you're going to hear it in this podcast. One little nugget that can help you, be successful.
Absolutely. You can also go to fb.com/401k hombre, and you can just like him and just send him a private message, and he will get back with you. Once again, we want to thank you on behalf of Success Upturn, Abel, to be here today sharing your amazing story of success and everything that you have go through and you keep going through on a daily basis. Everybody that's listening to this podcast or is viewing this video, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're a professional in the industry, in any industry, and would like to share your story, you can go to successupturn.com. Call me at 713-530-2455, 713-530-2455, and like us at fb.com/successupturn. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.